seconds where the sports talk to get you through your daily commute. Hot takes, recaps, best bets, and a little humor to get your day going in the right direction. Sit back, grab your coffee, and let's get into it. $14:20 in the morning for this December 13th, 2022. Today's show is brought to you by Rucket Sports and rucketsports.com. Go to rucketsports.com and use promo code 1420 RUCK, R-U-K-K, at checkout. Get 10% off all your backyard training needs. A lot of good stuff back there. And then for not even training needs for your kid, maybe you get something for yourself for practicing that golf swing and the like throughout the winter months. It's cold outside this morning. I'm hunkered down in the Yankee Tavern North, otherwise known as 1420 World Headquarters. Yeah, she's cold outside, but we'll get things heated up a little bit. The World Junior Tournament starts in Halifax and Moncton, as everybody knows, on Boxing Day here in Canada. It's a big tournament. Used to be a bigger tournament around the country. This is what we'll talk about a little bit today, but the roster was set yesterday. Connor Bedard obviously is going to be headlining that tournament. All eyes are on him, the projected first overall pick from the Regina Pats that that me and James Tubb thought was going to get traded when we did our preseason WHL talk about the Medicine Hat Tigers, but we'll get into that another day. But there's a lot of controversy surrounding Hockey Canada, and deservedly so, with the sexual abuse and sexual assault situation that occurred past World Junior tournaments, past situations throughout Hockey Canada, and then I don't want to say hush money, because I've been told a few different things in the past few months about that, so I'm not going to call it hush money, but let's just call it hush money for now. We can discuss that a little bit later. But this tournament used to be a lot bigger, in my opinion, in this country. Me and Dave have talked about it on the 1420 podcast on a few occasions because of that situation, but I think it goes a little bit deeper than that, because the World Junior Tournament kind of been lagging in attendance and lagging throughout a little bit for a while now, and that was before the sexual abuse situation came up in the very last couple of years. But the one thing that I think that's wrong with the World Junior Tournament, it's played in our country far too often. Yes, we get bigger crowds. Yes, they can promote it a lot more on TSN and the like. But I think the one thing that made this tournament special was when it was played overseas for they alternated for a lot of the years. You would see a lot more games early in the morning, and it brought families together a little bit, and you would sit around, watch the games at 6, 7, 8 in the morning, wherever you were, coast to coast across this great nation of ours. So I think that having it in Canada year after year has kind of depleted the excitement of it. It's an exciting tournament, no doubt about that. Like some of my greatest hockey memories, watching that tournament as a kid. It used to be such a huge part of the whole thing, but we used to know the players a lot more. It seemed you used to fall in love with these guys throughout the weeks of the tournament, like leading up to the tournament. Now that the roster was set yesterday, I won't bore us. We only got 14 minutes and 20 seconds, so I won't go through the whole roster. But you used to get to know these guys a lot more, and maybe because I was younger, they seemed larger than life, and not just when I was a hockey player of that age, but when I got a little bit older, in my 20s and even into my 30s, I seem to like these players a lot more, and I used to follow a lot more. And I think a part of it is just there's just so much coverage now, you almost turn it off, and you get to know these kids at a different age now, and it's not even because you had to read the hockey news, and if everybody remembers the hockey news, you had to remember to read that to get a read on these guys. So you got to know these guys, I think, on a different level, but you didn't get to know them as closely as you do now. And I think there's just maybe there's a little too much, but there's also the situation where there's so much content. There wasn't podcasts back then, obviously. There wasn't 48 channels covering this thing all the time. So now you become desensitized to it. I think we're turning it off a lot more because we're kind of getting sick of hearing about it's the same thing over and over and over on TSN, and you kind of get tired of it. But nonetheless, this tournament is big, and I think for a few weeks now, like it's the 13th today, and the tournament starts the 26th, I guess, is not that far away when it comes down to it. So it's coming. It's less than 2 weeks away, and so you got. I think what we need to do as a country and as Canadians is watch these games a little bit more. Get behind these kids. I'm not saying you have to go to the games out in Moncton or in Halifax. I'm not saying you got to go out and spend $200 on a jersey, but if you do buy a jersey, go to Lids or Fanatics or Fans Edge and get yourself a jersey. But the thing is, you don't have to support Hockey Canada. If you have your thoughts and your ideas about Hockey Canada, that's one thing. But it's not these kids' fault that are playing in this tournament. They're getting the chance of a lifetime. Some of them are going to go on to make tons of money in the NHL, but some of them won't. Some of them will end up being superstars. Some won't. Some might be Hall of Famers. Most won't. So I think it's a time that we should go out and watch these kids play. We need to support the team, and as a country, get together. Like something that we're a little bit divided, but this is something that we can usually get behind. And let's get to a point where when you see a flag, you're not thinking, "Oh, geez, is this guy a freedom fighter? Is this guy this or this guy have different political views?" I think it's time that we need to maybe just stop it all for a few weeks here and get behind these kids like we used to, and watch these games and have some fun like we used to. Gather in sports bars, gather with friends and family at home. Have watch parties and the like, and support these kids, because like I said, it's not their fault of what happened in the past, and there is a new regime with Hockey Canada now. So let's not forget what happened. I'm not saying that at all. Don't at me later on that I'm downplaying the situation, because I'm not. What I am doing is saying we have to eventually turn the page on all facets of life and try something different, and hopefully get to know these kids on a more personal basis, because there might be some great moments that come up. I mean, you'll never forget the Eberle goal in 2009. One of my favorite ones is the John Slaney goal. I remember exactly where I was. I was in Regina, Saskatchewan, playing for Notre Dame Hounds when Slaney scored that goal. Between periods, it was on TV in the lobby of the Al Ritchie Arena, and they heard people cheering and screaming when Slaney scored that big goal in 1990 in Saskatoon. Who can ever forget the Taves shootout? That he scored 3-4 consecutive times deal, and then just those games. The New Year's Eve games were always good against the U.S. The 09 one with John Tavares getting a hat trick, and they were down early. And just those memories, I think we need to start focusing on that again, because like I said, it's not these kids' fault that stuff happened. It's not we can't fix it, but we can go and try to make things make new memories, and just for a few weeks kind of get behind these kids for a few weeks. Forget about all the political disdain. We shouldn't be talking about Trudeau or Poilievre, or however you pronounce it, or whatever the rest of it. Just focus on these kids, focus on the tournament, and have some fun with it like we used to, and enjoy it and the like, because I think it's a good builder. We've had a rough few years here in Canada. We've had a rough few years right around the world. So whatever country you're from, if you want to watch down in the United States and do the USA chant, go right ahead. I love Americans. I love the country, but that chant's gotta go. It just drives me absolutely bananas. But that's just the way I am. So that's my thoughts on the World Junior team. The controversy, let's put it behind us for a few weeks. Like it just go watch the games and enjoy them. Politics doesn't belong in hockey. Yes, it's a part of it. It always will be. The stuff that's been happening throughout Hockey Canada, hopefully that's been changed. Hopefully that's getting cleaned up, and the proper way of dealing with things is right around the corner. Let's make some new memories. There's going to be the next Jimmy Waite. There's going to be the next Manny Legacy in net. There could be a kid that you never heard of before that's going to be a legend for the next month or so, and then he'll go into the abyss, and you'll never hear from him again, because it happens year after year. Go Canada, go, and let's keep going. Like I said, rocketsports.com, 1420 rocketsports.com for backyard training needs. Today's happy birthday, happy 53rd birthday, born on this day in 1969, Hall of Famer Sergei Fedorov. Speaking of the World Juniors, one of those teams, those Russian teams. Can you imagine a line with Pavel Bure and Alexander McGillney and Sergei Fedorov coming down on you? Oh boy. It was crazy days back then. But Fedorov, he had a hell of a career. Long-time Red Wing, made stops Anaheim, Columbus, Washington. I forgot about the Washington thing until I started doing some research bright and early this morning. Three-time Cup winner, 93, 94 MVP, might be well known outside the hockey world for dating Anna Kournikova. She was never a good tennis player, but she was very photographic, I guess is one way you could put it. And then she ended up dating Bure, or am I backwards on that? I can't remember. It doesn't much matter. But anyways, Fedorov was stalwart with those Red Wings teams that were so successful in the 90s. Hall of Famer, a no-doubt Hall of Famer. He was a game changer. I think at one point he was the highest paid guy in the National Hockey League. Could skate like no one's business. He was the first guy to wear the white Nike skates, if I recall correctly, or was that Gretzky? It doesn't matter. Who cares? I can make things up. You guys can get back to me, make sure that I'm saying things properly and getting things right here at 14:20 in the morning. It's early for me, but I'm getting this content out there for you guys on a daily basis to hope you guys get you off to your day started right. Make sure you guys tell people about the show. Have a listen every day. It's coming out every day, Monday to Saturday. Today in sports history, 2007, the much maligned and much talked about to this day, the Mitchell Report was released to the public. We all know the steroid era that happened. We can't forget it. It's part of baseball history as much as anything else is. A lot of stuff happened back in the 90s and then into the 2000s. But in 2007, the Mitchell Report, a lot of high-end names, including Barry Bonds, the Giambi brothers, Gary Sheffield, of course, Roger Clemens, David Justice. Who can forget Miguel Tejada, one of the greatest Oakland A's of all times, and he had some big numbers and big career those days back with the Oakland A's, and there was a lot going on with the steroid era. We shouldn't forget that it happened. We should those guys be Hall of Famers? It's up for debate, but I say like a guy like Clemens was going in no matter what. A guy like Bonds was going in no matter what. Just because they weren't good guys to media, it gets talked about ad nauseum. You could debate this one forever and ever with the steroid guys in baseball, but it's something that happens. It happened, and you can't forget about it. You got to just move on. Just like we talked about Team Canada, just move on. Don't forget about it. Fix the past and look towards the future. And that's a good line for today. Forget the past. Look towards the future. Maybe that's what we'll call this episode of the 14:20 in the morning here on the 13th day of December. Bodog's best bet. We'll start with what do we got? We got Argentina battling Croatia. Call that one a draw, and just call that one a draw. I think Argentina will win on penalties. Toronto continues to stay real hot. Toronto's really good, hey. We talked about the other day on Saturday, was it? Toronto's really good. They got Anaheim rolling in tonight. Anaheim played last night in Ottawa. They went down last night, so a Toronto win should be happening, of course, because I'm saying it. Toronto's probably going to end up losing this game, but no, I got Toronto. Marner continues his hot streak. He'll get another point tonight, push it to 23, I believe, and go with that. The Sabres are at home to the Kings in Buffalo. Lay down 20. You can win $140.73. Make a play at Bodog today. Bet responsibly. Sign up. I'll put the link up on this show report, but it's on our Linktree account. It's on our Twitter account, and you'll find that at _1420. You'll get that. Everybody knows the trick. And people who don't know, actually, if you know, tell somebody who hasn't listened to the show to listen to the show once or twice this week. Download and listen to the 1420 Sports Bar podcast. We did a show last night, Dave and I. We got a holiday schedule up and at 'em that's going to be quite hectic for the next few days. We want to make sure you guys have enough holiday cheer from the 1420 boys to get you through the holiday season and your travels and everything else. Make sure if during your travels you talk to people about the show and let them know what's going on in the 1420 world. We appreciate all the support we've gotten. Anyways, like I said, to start the tournament off, not my favorite, one of my earliest memories. We'll get back to World Junior for a second. I got 20 seconds to kill. The Pia Stanley punch out. I remember we were skating down at the backwaters in Fort McLeod. We were going to go watch the game. We were down there. Dad came down and got me, and I can't remember who I was with. It was such a long time ago, but I remember watching the Pia Stanley punch out, and they turned the lights out. Everybody who's seen it remembers it vividly. It's been in all the highlight videos and the talk about it and the whole thing. But you can't believe that happened, how they turned the lights off and just absolute mayhem with a bunch of kids swinging and the whole bit. Just the Pia Stanley punch out 1985 or 86, 80. I don't know. It doesn't much matter, but it was a long, long time ago. Hopefully we don't have that. But anyways, 14:20 in the morning. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Both tomorrow night or tomorrow morning. 14:20 in the morning, tomorrow morning.
Thank you for listening to this Belly Up Sports Podcast Network product. Some said we go belly up, so we made it our name, and we're still here.